Hello guys, in this video we'll be looking at DNA, autosomal DNA predicted appearance, traits, and of course GD match results of a Caucasus hunter-gatherer man from Satsurblia cave labeled SATP. Now, I have already covered a Caucasus hunter-gatherer individual previously. I have a video about Kotias Kide individual on my channel, which you should look. What's interesting about this guy's Y-DNA is that his specific subclade, which is like FT34521, is only pretty much only found in Armenia. It's an exclusively Armenian lineage, but his wider branch, like J1, is found pretty much everywhere in the Middle East, and it mostly peaks in the Arabian countries. Moving on to phenotypes, this is what he looked like. My tool is predicting him to have brown eyes at 61%, Greek nose at 75%, and brown hair at 78%. Not black hair, not dark brown eyes. He wasn't so dark. He was actually a lot lighter than the Kotias Kide individual, who was also a Caucasus hunter-gatherer. This individual had BH1 mutation, and he was heterozygous for the BH2 mutation, which means he had one of the light alleles in BH2 mutation that 23andMe looks for to determine eye color. With snipper free, he's predicted to have white skin, green or hazel eyes, and brown hair. Notice how it says brown and not black. So he was obviously quite a light individual, comparable to even modern Europeans. He had two derived alleles in SLC24A5, which is a gene implicated in skin color, aside from other things, and he had two derived alleles in every TRP1 SNP, basically just like the Kotias Kide individual. They both have two derived alleles in every TRP1 SNP. According to his genotype in the Val-Met variant in Comte, he was a warrior with the IO, which means GG genotype. Now, this genotype has some associations with it. First of all, it's associated with non-European ancestry. Europeans tend to score AA or AG, and non-Europeans tend to score only GG. But another association is that it has some implications in the way your brain works, because warriors with the GG genotype have quicker reuptake of dopamine, less dopamine in the system, and less attention, less motivation, but however better stress resiliency. He had one derived variant in the sociopath gene, which is kind of, on NPD, they make it look like a big deal, like you have one derived variant, suddenly you have lack of empathy. It doesn't quite work this way, because I think to have really lack of empathy, you need to have two derived alleles, and by the way, having one derived allele is pretty common for everybody, like from Europeans to East Asians specifically. For them it's just the norm, but even for Europeans it's pretty common, and for Sub-Saharan Africans it happens occasionally. He did not have derived EDAR, which is a gene implicated in mongoloid facial features, so no mongoloid facial features for him. He also did not have the European lactose persistence mutation and was most likely lactose intolerant as an adult. Now, moving on to this variation in DRD2, it's a very interesting variation. I'm gonna use it more often in my videos now. Here he had pretty much the normal or typical genotype, which is CC, which means a normal amount of dopamine D2 receptors and not an increased risk of Parkinson's and the rest. This is what he scores with the Punt DNA LK10 ancient calculator. Notice how he's scoring 94.3% Caucasus hunter-gatherer here. Somehow this individual is actually more Caucasus hunter-gatherer than the Kotias individual, because I remember the Kotias guy on this calculator scoring like 84% CHG, unlike this one. And with the Oracle, he's closest to Makrani and Lesgins, and basically the usual suspects when it comes to CHG or CHG-related admixture. This is what he scores with the Punt DNA LK12. As you can see, also overwhelmingly Caucasus hunter-gatherer. So this makes me like this calculator. I think this calculator is pretty good. Punt DNA calculators are pretty good for identifying Caucasus-related ancestry. And with the Oracle, it's basically closest to Satsurblia. And interestingly, it's closer to Satsurblia than to Kotias Kide. And with the modern population Oracle, it's basically closest to Abkhazians, like Western Pakistani and Southeast Iranians, Lesgins, and basically all kinds of Caucasians, all the people who are the usual suspects for Caucasus-related admixture. This is his result with MDLPK11. Now, you can notice that he's scoring 56% EHG here, and obviously, this is not because he's actually 56% EHG, that's because EHG category here is meant to represent Caucasus admixture, they just misnamed it. And with the Oracle, he's a mixture of Satsurblia plus, I'm noticing line 5, Satsurblia plus 5% Natufian, so maybe this sample was a little bit more, the sample that I uploaded on GD match was maybe a little bit more shifted towards Natufians relative to the sample that's a part of the Oracle here. This is his result with Eurogenes K13. What's interesting is he's scoring 8% South Asian, which I kind of did not expect. I was expecting mostly West Asian. and with the Oracle, it's closest to Brahvi, Baloch, basically the usual suspects when it comes to Caucasus-related admixture. And this is what he scores with Eurogene's 36. This is a very non-diverse result. It's pretty much only North Caucasus, South Central Asia, Armenia, and West Caucasus. This is the only thing that's present here. And of course there is that 1% or 2% Central African that he scores. Moving on to Ancient Eurasia K6 calculator by Gedrosia, he's scoring 47% Ancestral North Eurasian and 40% Natufian. The dominant components here is Ancestral North Eurasian and Natufian, but there is also 10% Ancestral South Eurasian. So this is a majority A&E result. And with the Oracle, he's closest to CHG, followed by Brahvi, which the distance to Brahvi is actually pretty close. Like Brahvi are resembling CHG, I guess. And he can be modeled as a mixture of Caucasus plus, I'm seeing Papuan, Andamanese, basically a mixture of Caucasus plus something like really Southeast Asian. This is what he scores with Gedrosia K3. Surprisingly, not a lot of East Eurasian, because I would expect much more. If he's half Ancient North Eurasian, that means he's got to have at least 10% or at least 15% East Eurasian, right? That's baked into that. And if he had, on top of that, he also had South Eurasian ancestry, so that's got to add up to more than 10%. But I guess he just had a lot of modern West Eurasian drift, and because of that, he scores 86% West Eurasian. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe, and the link to download this file in 23andMe format will be in the description.